to our channel. Ruth here, and in today's video I'm excited to share with you how to think like the rich and manifest your wealth in 5 simple steps. So let's get started. Number 1, it is important that you have a clear vision and goal in mind. Now, having a clear vision is so important. There's a saying that goes like this: your vision actually determines your attitude and your altitude. I think there's a lot of truth about this statement, because your vision determines how you behave, how hard you work on your business or your career, but at the same time it determines your altitude, as in how high you're going to go in terms of your success. So having a clear vision is really, really important. And sometimes I know it's not easy to actually dream big. And that's why I think it's important that we take that time to just quiet ourselves down and go, you know what do I really want to see change in my life? So personally, you need to ask yourself that question: what does being rich mean to me? For some it could be $1 million, for some it could be $100 million. But what does being rich mean to you? And it could just be something simple like, well, I would like to save $10,000 by the end of this year so I can take my family on vacation. So whatever your dream is, write it down and don't be afraid to actually write it down. I remember a couple of years ago, I had big dreams and big visions. I wanted to start businesses, I wanted to write books, I wanted to, be a partner in a law firm. And at the time, none of that was happening, all right? So I wrote down the vision that I wanted to see. And it was very confronting, because I felt like, oh, how dare I write these dreams, what if I can't accomplish them? I'll be so embarrassed, But I actually did that regardless of the fear in my heart, because my desire to succeed was greater than the fear that wanted to stop me. So I did that, and amazingly, the same year, I accomplished 70% of the goals that I had on that list. So my question to you is, what is your vision? Don't be afraid. You don't have to post it on Facebook and tell the whole world, because you're not obliged or accountable to them. You are accountable to yourself. So when I did what I did back then, with that vision board, I didn't tell anyone. I might have told my husband, and he might have thought, oh, this woman, But can I just say, he's a very, very supportive husband. I think he believes in me more than I even believe in myself. And I'm very blessed to have that. But you don't have to be sharing it with the whole world, because sometimes you don't need naysayers. There might be people, some of them could be jealous of your dreams. Some of them could have great intentions, but because of fear, they'll talk you out of your dreams. So let it be between you, yourself, and your dream. Have a clear vision, because that's how the rich think. They always have a clear vision and a goal in mind. Number 2, the rich are actually, surprisingly, most of rich people are savvy. They think before they spend, and they take calculated risk. So that's really, really important, that we don't just, if your business is making, say, $10,000 a month, don't spend everything and, buy a Louis Vuitton bag, and nothing wrong with buying a Louis Vuitton bag, by the way. And then there's nothing saved, and you're not reinvesting your finances. But the rich think this way. They say, well, this business has made me, say, $100,000. Perhaps I could reinvest in the business, save some, reinvest in others, and go, well, maybe we can do a larger scale in our marketing. Because if this product made us $100,000 this month, perhaps we can reinvest that, and that could make us another $100,000. So I think that's actually very savvy. In fact, my husband and I, we sometimes watch this YouTuber called Michael the Producer. Now, he's a music producer. He's based in LA, but I think he's from England originally. He actually gave a really, really good piece of advice. See, he's into watches, and his watches are $50,000, by the way, some of his watches. And he said, well, if you want to buy a $50,000 watch, don't just take it out of your savings, but instead, maybe when you've earned X amount of money, reinvest that, and then maybe from the interest money or let's say if you put it in a bank on a fixed deposit, and at the end of the year you earn $50,000, you can use that money to give yourself a reward. And I think that's very wise, because then you're not spending all the money you have and depleting your resources, but rather you're really using your money in a wise way. But also always think about reinvesting your resources and saving. Number 3, the rich never stop learning. Now that's so important. They're always trying to improve themselves, whether it is in their career, in their business. So it's so important that we never stop learning. If you're a business owner, you want to think about, well, how do I improve my marketing? How do I improve my products? How do I improve my services? Even if you might be doing fairly well and you're quite content as to where you are, it's good to be thankful and content, but never be complacent, because the rich are never complacent. They always want to go for the next step, the more, unless you choose to retire, of course. Number 4, the rich believe in themselves. One of my favorite speakers, Joyce Meyer, actually said, we can be afraid, but that's okay. You can actually do it afraid. Confidence is not the absence of fear, but confidence means, you're just going to take that step of faith and you're going to do it afraid. And I think that's very, very true, because the thing is, none of us have it all together. Even with millionaires and billionaires, if you listen to their stories, a lot of them failed. Some of them went into bankruptcy, and yet they get back up. Were they afraid of another criticism, of another loss? Yeah, but they did it afraid. So important that we actually have confidence in ourselves. At the time of recording this video, I am a partner in a law firm. I've been a legal practitioner now in Australia for about 13 years. But I remember when I started doing a particular law, and because of confidentiality, I can't reveal too much information, but I started practicing in this particular area of law, and I didn't actually have a mentor. I felt like I was, in the deep blue sea, swimming with the sharks, and I was afraid, but I thought to myself, you know what, I've come a long way. I've done English law, Australian law, 6 years of law school. I'm not just going to give up, but was I afraid? Yes, I was. Did I have confidence in myself? Well, maybe a little bit, but I took a leap of faith and I said, you know what, I'm going to learn. Even though I don't know much about this area of law, I'm going to actually invest in myself. So I sign up for courses, seminars, and I'll pay for it. And I'll actually read up on anything I can get my hands on. And within a short 3 years, and I'm not saying this to boast, I really thank God every day, and I feel really humbled by this. Within a short time frame of about 3 years, I was nominated or ranked as the #1 lawyer in my field in 2 locations here in Australia. Well, how did I do that? Well, I just did my best, But you see, if I never took the step of faith, I could have just given up and go, you know what, this is not for me, and I wouldn't have been able to help the people that I've assisted so far. So whatever you do, believe in yourself. If you're lacking in confidence, that's okay. If you have a little bit of faith as a mustard seed, just that tiny, tiny confidence, take a leap of faith, but always learn, always take calculated risk, and never stop learning. Number 5, the rich, they never give up. So don't give up. Even if things get tough, the rich don't give up. How many of you have had KFC before? Kentucky Fried Chicken? Yeah. Well, Mr. Sanders, the one who came up with the finger-licking good recipe, did you know his story is pretty amazing? He used to own a shop, like a store along this highway, and he used to have customers. But one day, the government decided to build a road that would actually bypass his shop, and so that diverted most of the traffic, and he began to lose his businesses. So he was actually in his 60s at the time, and him and his friend would travel around the US. They would sleep behind the car because he probably had no money, or he wanted to save money, and he would go around knocking on restaurants' door and say, hey, if you sell this chicken, you can pay me a nickel for a chicken at the time. So He started doing that, going doors to doors, and a lot of the restaurants say, no, we don't need your fried chicken. No, we can make our own fried chicken. But he kept going and he kept going. And it wasn't until at a later stage where he actually managed to franchise his business, and when he was in his 70s, the business was worth millions and it went public. You see, he was in his 60s, Mr. Sanders, Mr. KFC. He did not give up. So if Mr. KFC, Mr. Sanders did not give up in his 60s, my question to you is this: how old are you? You know, I'm sure a lot of you listening to this video, maybe some of you are in your 60s or 70s, but a majority of you are probably in your 20s, your teenagers, in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s. So there's no excuses for us to give up. So if Sanders can do it, you can do it too. So I hope that you enjoyed the content of today's video, and thank you so much once again for taking the time to watch the video. And before you go, would you be so kind to hit the like and subscribe button so we can keep you motivated? And you know what? That's going to mean the world to me. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.